During a winter power outage, an office worker steps into a jammed parking garage and helps the overlooked attendant manually move a line of angry drivers. She buys hot tea, covers a young mother's fee out of pocket, and risks her job by running manual receipts until the system comes back. The quiet collaboration reveals the attendant's private burden and sparks small changes among the regulars without any speeches. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, where are you tuning in from? Leave your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories reach. Most nights I walk past the booth without a word. He stamps tickets with the side of his hand, like he learned long ago. The glass is smudged. A radio whispers news no one hears. His cup of noodles steams on a paper napkin. The booth light makes everything look tired. People hand over cards without looking up. He says, "Thanks anyway," like a habit. A guy in a cheap suit tosses a crumpled ticket at the window. The man in the booth smooths it with long fingers. "Lost ticket is day rate," he says. The guy snorts, digs for his wallet, and says loud enough for everyone, "What do you even do in there?" The line is 3 cars deep. The guy pays, peels out slow, his jaw stuck in place. The man in the booth doesn't blink. He reaches for his noodles. He stamps the next ticket. On a Tuesday in February, the lights blink and go dark. It's a few minutes past 5. Cold air runs down the ramp like water. The heater in the booth dies with a small cough. The gate drops half a foot and stays there, just low enough to block. A white emergency light kicks on and makes the concrete look blue. Someone's radio cuts out mid-song. Footsteps echo from the stairwell. Drivers lean forward like leaning helps. The man in the booth looks at his computer, then at the phone, then at the breaker box. He presses a button. Nothing. The line snakes around the ramp. It curls like a bad thought. Horns start light, then heavier, then one long note that makes your teeth buzz. You can see faces trapped behind windshields. A mother rocks a car seat in the back, her breath fogging the glass. A young guy looks at his watch, then at his hands like he can clap the problem away. A security guard shows up in a knit cap, radio hissing. He says manager's stuck on another call. The man in the booth nods once and turns a key that doesn't do anything. A man leans on his horn until his face turns blotchy. He's in a black sedan with lights like a grin. "Open the gate," he says through the little gap in the glass. He bangs on the frame with his knuckle. The guard says something about safety. The man in the booth says, "System's down. I can't lift it without approval." The sedan man rolls his eyes so hard you can hear it. A few cars back, someone coughs. Someone else starts a slow clap that dies fast. I could keep walking. My bus is 3 blocks away. My feet are wet inside my sneakers. My backpack is heavy with a laptop and a half sandwich. I can feel the day trying to peel off me. I could cross the street and pretend this isn't my problem. I could watch from the corner and tweet a joke I'll hate in an hour. I step into the spill of the booth light and rap on the glass. The man in the booth looks up, startled. I try a smile. "Hi," I say. "What do you need?" He blinks behind thin lenses. "Electric," he says, like a dry joke. He lifts a clipboard. Paper forms. Manager says wait. I nod. "How about we don't?" I point to the ramp. "We can take names. Plates. Handwrite receipts. When the system's up, run them later." The security guard looks at me like I just entered a movie mid-scene. "You work here?" he asks. "No," I say. "I park here." I hold up my pass like a hall pass. I can write fast. The guard hesitates. The man in the booth pulls out a stack of blank receipts and a felt pen. He slides them to me through the small opening like a secret. We look at each other for half a second, like we already agreed. The woman with the infant is next. Her hands shake while she digs for a card. You can see her eyes doing math. The baby lets out a sound like a new hinge. Her card keeps declining. I catch myself before I glance at the sedan guy. "I'll cover this one," I say. My voice sounds too loud in the little concrete world. I slide my card into the portable reader. It beeps like a small bird. I print a receipt and write her plate number and her name as she spells it. She cries once, quiet and short, like she bit her lip. "Thank you," she says under her breath. The baby makes a soft snore. I jog to the bodega on the corner and buy 6 paper cups of hot tea. The man behind the counter gives me a look like he knows the kind of night it is. He throws in extra sugar packets and a sleeve of cookies. "You'll need it," he says. I nod and run back with a cardboard tray and tea sloshing onto my wrist. I hand one through the gap to the man in the booth. He blows at it carefully, like it can hear him. I pass one to the guard. I carry one out to the mother and set it on her hood with a napkin. Steam curls up into the blue light. The smell makes someone in line laugh, like the smell of tea is a joke about being human. The manager calls the booth phone, voice tinny and sharp. The man in the booth answers, listens some more. Yes, he says. Yes. No key, he says, and looks at the guard. The guard pats his jacket and shakes his head. The manager talks fast. The man in the booth pulls the phone away, holds it toward me. He wants to talk to you, he says. I put it to my ear. I say. So we're doing manual receipts. We've got plates and names. People have kids in cars. Do you have the manual release key? If not, safety wins. We'll keep track. You can audit me. There's a pause. Who is this? The manager asks. Someone who parks here, I say. I'll put my number on the forms. He sighs like he's chewing ice. Fine, he says. Release is in the lockbox by the gate. Code is, he says, a string of numbers I write with my tea hand, my fingers sticky with sugar. We push a dead sedan away from the clear lane. A guy's battery is finished. 4 of us lean into the cold metal. Our feet slip on oil and slush. The guy in the fancy coat ends up shoulder to shoulder with the guy in the hoodie. No one says anything about it. Someone laughs because what else do you do? The car rolls into a spot like it planned to be there. The guy with the dead battery presses his palms together. I owe you, he says to no one and everyone. I punch the lockbox code with numb fingers. The manual release is a little metal handle that looks like it belongs on a toaster. The guard nods. You sure? He asks. I nod. He hands me his radio. In case someone wants to argue, he says. The horns die down. We start a rhythm. I step out in front of the first car. I hold up a pale copy of a receipt like a tiny flag. I take a plate number, a name, a phone number. The man in the booth writes it down with neat letters. The guard lifts the gate by handle, slow and steady, like you lift a sleeping child. Each car rolls out like someone exhaling. People stop honking and start waving. Someone cracks their window and says, "You're saints," which is not true but nice to hear anyway. I call the pizza place and order 2 plain pies and tell them the garage entrance because how do you explain a line of cars to a guy on the phone eating olives from a plastic tub? When the pies come, the delivery guy stands next to me for a minute and shakes his head at the line. Cold night, he says. We hand out slices on paper plates. The sedans smell like cheese for a minute. People laugh in that low way you do when your stress finds a seat. Someone starts telling a story about a different outage years ago, and someone else nods like they were there, even if they weren't. When the gate finally lifts on its own again, it's after 10. Lights blinked back to life like nothing happened. The heater coughs and starts. The computer hums. The guard flips the handle back into place. I hand in a stack of paper receipts, edges greasy from pizza. The man in the booth taps them square and ties them with a rubber band. He looks at my handwriting, like he's memorizing it. He reaches under the stool and pulls out a brown pharmacy bag. He shows me a sticker with his name on it, then folds it shut and tucks it back. His phone lights up with the word home. He types, running late, be there soon, heat coming back. His wallpaper is a picture of a woman with clear plastic tubing by her nose, smiling like she knows he hates the word caregiver. He doesn't say any of this out loud. He just presses his hand to the glass and then pulls it back like he forgot himself. My phone lights up with 3 messages from my boss, deck tonight, hello, and then, where are you? I type, stuck at the garage, helping the attendant get cars out. I'll send the draft when I get home. 3 dots. Nothing. Then, okay, tomorrow morning then. I sit down on an upside-down bucket. My socks feel like cold sponges. I stretch my fingers and look at the man in the booth. He is sliding the pizza box under the stool for later, like he doesn't deserve a second slice, which he does. In the days after, little things start to change. A plastic jar shows up on the counter with a paper label someone wrote in Sharpie, Gate Fund. People drop in singles, then 5s, then loose change. The mother comes back with the baby in a knit hat that looks like a bear face. She hands over a folded card with a crayon drawing of a big square booth and a stick figure with glasses. Inside it says, "Thank you for the tea." The guy in the black sedan returns at lunch, cheeks pink from the cold. He stands by the booth and waits to catch an eye. "I was a jerk," he says. He puts a 20 in the jar and doesn't make a show of it. The manager prints big signs for the stairwells with a lockbox code and tapes one inside the booth. The guard starts carrying jump cables on his cart like they're part of his uniform. A gate looks simple. It's a metal arm and some springs. It rises and lowers, but it's held up by hands, by people who decide to use their bodies and their names and their time when a system hiccups. The paper receipts get filed. My card charge clears. The man in the booth learns that he likes the tea with too much sugar. We nod at each other when I walk past, not like friends, but like witnesses. At dawn the next morning, light pools on the oil-slick concrete. It catches a coffee thermos someone left on the booth ledge with a post-it that says, "For long nights." The little plant in the corner of the booth, a dusty pothos, turns its leaves toward the window. The gate rises slow and smooth for the first car of the day. The man in the booth looks up and lifts 2 fingers without leaving his stool. I lift mine back and keep walking, the steam of my breath fading into the cold air.